Hey guys, thanks for trying science. We're going to talk about a couple last body systems. I'm not sure if this camera is working or not, but I am here behind the scenes here doing this. So let's talk about excretory and endocrine systems today. So if you got your notes packet, dig those out. Let's fill in some charts. We're going to talk about how we get rid of wastes, looking at things like kidneys. Let's start out with our function here of our excretory system. Basically, it's a pretty simple system. We're just removing wastes from the body. We're going to talk about salts, extra water, carbon dioxide, urea. And you already know that the lungs are going to get rid of that carbon dioxide. But to get rid of other things, we're going to use things like new organs, kidneys, and bladder. So we're talking about filtering the blood here. The blood, as it goes through the body, will pick up wastes, including, urea, which is a chemical made by our cells as we're living and processing foods and doing our chemical reactions to stay alive. It's just something that we remove. We have extra of that. We don't need that. We also have salts and water, so that's going to go to the kidneys and then be stored in the bladder for removal eventually. Your bladder holds about 300 milliliters. Don't ask me how they measured that amount, but that's an average amount. And your lungs and skin also can be part of the system too. I mean, in a way, you think about your lungs removing that CO2, and your skin, when you sweat, releases a lot of the same materials that we do from urine. So, excretory system is going to work really closely with our cardiovascular system. The blood pumper, getting the heart going and the blood moving through the body and picking up those wastes and delivering them to other parts where they can be removed. And don't forget about your nerves telling your brain that you have to go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. All right, so those are your notes about the excretory system. You can feel free to pause on that. I'm going to go ahead back here and check out the review of that, the brain pop. Let's see how this all works.
Let's go around that. Dear Tim and Moby, how does the urinary system work? From Min. The urinary system is one part of your body's excretory system, the parts of your body that remove waste products. Well, the processes that keep us alive, like eating, breathing, and drinking, also create poisons in our bodies. The urinary system removes a poison called urea from the bloodstream. It also gets rid of any extra water and salts you don't need. All of this stuff is carried by the blood to the kidneys, two organs in your lower back. The kidneys are about the size of a fist, and they're shaped like kidney beans. Or a kidney swimming pool. Right, what I'm saying is they're kidney-shaped. Anyway, inside the kidneys, little filters called nephrons take all the urea and other unwanted stuff out of your blood. Right, that's all urine is. Water, urea, and salts that your body doesn't need. From the kidneys, urine travels down little tubes called ureters and is emptied into the bladder. The kidneys send a little bit of urine to the bladder every 10 or 15 seconds. The bladder is shaped like a balloon, and that's actually how it acts, too. As it receives more urine, it blows up into a round shape. Circular muscles called sphincters keep the urine from leaking out of the bladder's opening. Meanwhile, nerves in the bladder send signals to your brain telling you that you need to go to the bathroom. The more the muscular bladder fills up, the more intense the nerve signals get, and the more uncomfortable you become. And eventually, the bladder explodes. No, I'm just kidding. A healthy bladder can comfortably hold about 16 ounces of urine for a few hours. When you want to go, your brain sends signals to the bladder, telling it to squeeze, and signals to the sphincters, telling them to relax. Urine leaves the bladder through a tube called the urethra. That leads to the outside world. Bad dog, go away.
All right, so I think we're going to call it good on the excretory system for now. Let's move on to our next page in your pack about endocrine. Endocrine system regulates your body functions like growth and development. Doing so by a process of using hormones, which are chemical messengers that deliver messages to your body. Now, adrenaline is one good example. Okay, adrenaline will really get that heart going and get that car off the ground. Let's take a look at our notes and figure out what's going on with this system. Lots of different organs involved. Let's start with what it does. It is a regulator and controls all the other body systems. It ties in really well to other body systems. It's going to be a good way to end because it's going to talk about a lot of different body systems all together. All right, it's going to be working through a series of glands or organs that make hormones, which are our chemical messages that affect some sort of change in the body, and they're scattered throughout the body here. As you can see, there's different organs that do different things. Okay. Go ahead and pause so you can see all these, and then we'll get back to talking a little bit more about all this and what's happening with our endocrine system.
Dear Tim and Moby, what are hormones and what body system do they belong to? From Cutie Pie. No, Moby, this isn't the puberty movie all over again. Puberty is just one of the things controlled by hormones from the endocrine system. Ever wonder how your body stays around the same temperature or why you fall asleep and wake up automatically? The endocrine system is in charge of making sure that your body's many functions are coordinated. It's made up of groupings of cells called glands. There are 8 major endocrine glands: the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal glands, the pineal gland, the pancreas, the thymus, the parathyroids, the ovaries in women, and the testes in men. These glands make more than 30 types of hormones, each with their own special job. Hormones are responsible for regulating your metabolism, mood, growth, and organ function. A part of your brain called the hypothalamus is critical to your endocrine system. It monitors your body and sends the information to your pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is attached to the hypothalamus, and it's like the king of the endocrine system. It sends out its own chemical messages and rules the actions of most of the other major endocrine glands. Well, each gland has a different job. The thyroid releases hormones that control how fast your body's cells burn energy. That's important because it affects how other parts of you grow and develop. The parathyroid glands keep the level of calcium in your blood at a certain level. If, say, your blood has too much or too little calcium, your nerves and muscles don't work right. The adrenal glands regulate your response to stress. Right, they release the hormone adrenaline in dangerous or exciting situations. Gives you a quick burst of strength and speed.
The adrenal glands are also involved with your body's regulation of salt and its sexual development during puberty.
The function of the pineal gland isn't fully understood yet. All we know is it secretes a hormone called melatonin that's thought to influence our sleep cycle, metabolism, and sexual development. The pancreas secretes the hormone insulin, which regulates your blood sugar. You've probably heard of type 1 diabetes. That happens when the pancreas can't produce enough insulin to control your blood sugar. The thymus helps your body fight off infections. It's a key player in the production of T cells, which identify and kill germs in your blood. Almost done, buddy. Hang in there. Finally, there are the ovaries in women and the testes in men. These glands produce hormones that help us reach maturity, fight infections, stay energetic, and more. They also produce the sex cells for reproduction. Well, no matter what gland produces them, hormones all work in the same basic way. On one side, we've got the glands and cells that produce hormones. And on the other side, we've got cells and tissues that respond to the hormones. When glands secrete hormones into the bloodstream, the hormones travel to a target cell or target tissue. When the target's receptors get their chemical message, they go to work carrying out their function. Every cell in your body has receptors for particular hormones. Well, the endocrine system works in cycles. It produces hormones, and the hormones do their job, causing many different things to happen in many different types of cells. Think about how you suddenly start growing in your teen years. When it's time for a growth spurt, the pituitary gland sends out a growth hormone that tells your cells, it's time to grow up, start dividing.
Your adrenal glands and sexual glands also contribute.
When your body is finished growing, your cells will produce chemicals that stop those growth hormones from being released. That's why you stop growing. This is called negative feedback, and it's how most hormone production is regulated. When a job's done, negative feedback occurs, and the hormone production stops until it's time for the whole process to start over again. Don't be so literal.
All right, guys. So last thing we're going to talk about is what that is all about with the homeostasis. I mean, all these endocrine glands keeping your body regulated. Think about, your heart rate has to be in a certain range, your blood sugar, your temperature, whether you breathe 10 times a minute or 50 times a minute. All of these things and things you don't even think about, like the gases in your blood and all the different vitamins and minerals and things, how much gets absorbed, what passes on through. A lot of this is all regulated by hormones, and it's related to what we call homeostasis. Homeo means same, condition, stasis, same condition, keeping your body kind of in the same regulated internal condition that you need to live, which brings us right back around where we started when we talked about what does it mean to be a living thing, use energy, grow, develop, reproduce. It's related to these body systems. Homeostasis is a big part of that. Make sure you've got that under your belt. Let's check it out.
Dear Tim and Moby, what is homeostasis? From Oded. That's a great question, Oded. We all know that the conditions in the outside world change all the time. But things are different inside your body. The conditions in there don't really change at all.
In most circumstances, our body temperature stays within a relatively narrow range.
That's because humans are warm-blooded animals, just like cats and dogs and camels. Ew. Cold-blooded animals, like lizards and fish, depend on their environment to regulate their body temperature. Anyway, the temperature and the chemical balance inside your body have to stay the same for you to function. To maintain this sameness, which is called homeostasis, your body regulates itself in a bunch of ways. Thermoregulation is the way your body keeps its temperature steady at around 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter how hot or cold it is outside. Here's how it works. The hypothalamus is a part of your brain that acts as a sort of a thermostat. When your body temperature starts to rise or fall, a special team of nerves and hormones, called a feedback system, sends a warning to the hypothalamus. Moby made this thing to show how feedback works. When the water level gets too high, he opens the valve at the bottom to let some out. If there's too little water, he adds more to keep the water at just the right level. The feedback systems in your body behave in much the same way. Most feedback is negative, meaning that the change is bad news and needs to be countered. In thermoregulation, it's negative feedback that tells the hypothalamus when you're overheated and you need to sweat. Or that you're really cold and you may need to shiver in order to generate heat. Feedback can be positive, too, meaning that the change in your body is a good thing and should even be increased for a while. When a pregnant woman goes into labor, it's positive feedback controlling the contractions that push the baby out. Another part of the hypothalamus's job is to make you run a fever when you're sick. At those times, the thermostat resets itself to a higher temperature to give your body more heat energy to fight infection. But homeostasis isn't just about regulating body temperature. For example, your excretory organs get rid of chemical waste that's poisonous to your body. A part of your brain called the respiratory center makes sure that you have the right oxygen and carbon dioxide mix in your blood at all times. And your immune system defends you from invading viruses, bacteria, and allergens that don't belong in your body. Homeostasis ensures that the environment inside your body remains stable, no matter how crazy the outside world gets. No, I'm not going to feel your forehead. Because you don't have a fever. Well, you're not warm-blooded. You don't have blood. Oh, you forgot to turn that water thing off. You just exist to get me in trouble, don't you?
All right, guys. Well, that was it for those two body systems. Be ready for a review for you. And we'll get that test going for the human body very soon in just a couple of days. So glad you guys logged in, checked it out. Phil's for you. So take care of your body. I'll see you on the next one.